When our sign-in form is submitted, we want to save the user in the state of the app component. So which components are allowed to update the state of the app component? Only app itself, right? We have to call setState from inside the same app. So whatever function adds the user or sets the user is going to have to be inside app. So I'm going to add a method here after the constructor before render. The render function always goes last, by the way. Render method, always put it last. No, there's no actual rule. It's not going to break if you don't, but everyone always puts render last. So we should too, because everyone's going to look for it there. So I'm going to make a method called handleAuth that takes a user as an argument. It's just another method, but I write it as an arrow function so that we don't have any issues with this. And all it's going to do is set state with the user that was passed in. And we know that that is short for user : user, right? But in ES6, inside object literals, if you're setting a key to a variable with the same name as the key, you just have to type it the once. Makes a lot of our set state calls simpler. Cool. So we need to be able to call this method from the other component. So what do we need to do? Somebody tell me. Like you mean it, Evelyn. Make it a prop of sign in. Heck yeah, you do. So there's sign in. So we pass a prop. We'll call it handleAuth. And what should we set it to? This dot handleAuth. Thank you. So now we can call it from down here. So let's add handle submit. You will also receive an event as an argument. Let's put on submit on the form. This dot handle submit. We'll want to prevent default. So this is not a stateless functional component, so we don't do the whole destructuring thing because we aren't receiving our props as an argument. We're receiving them as actual props. So we'll want to call this dot props dot handleAuth. And we need to pass it a user object. And right now, the only thing we're actually getting from the form is the email. So we'll just make up the rest. So how about UID? I don't know. Eventually we'll be getting UIDs from some sort of API. I'll throw the email in there. This.state.email. Followed by some random garbage. Then at least they'll all have unique UIDs. Even though it'll just be the email plus the same random garbage for everybody. This is a short-term thing. So then we also wanted a display name, right? We'll just make the display name the email for now. And an email. This.state.email. Let's try this out. Here's our app component, state, user. I have one hard-coded in there. I suppose there should not be one hard-coded in there anymore. So we will initialize this.state.user as an empty object. So in app.js, I changed user to an empty object. Okay, so this.state.user is an empty object. Let's put in any old email like Kumi at longsleevedtshirt.com. Look at that. Yeah. Our state updated. This is probably smoke and mirrors, right? I probably went in and made it only accept that one email address. Let's make sure. Jaden at Jaden and the Thrashers.com, his band. I assume. You have a band called Jaden and the Thrashers? Sweet. I knew it. Yeah, it totally works. Cool. So, set the user in state. It doesn't really do anything. This doesn't really do anything yet. What do we want to do? I won't commit this. When the form is submitted, save that user in the state of the app component. We did get that part done. But then when it's set, we want to show the component. When it's not, we want to show the main component.